Thunder Hurricane!
Hydro Thunder Hurricane is the official sequel to the original Hydro Thunder that was a big hit in the arcades years ago, though most fans may say that the true sequel is H2 Overdrive that has recently been in the arcades. Hurricane is made by a different developer, and for that reason there are a few differences, but the spirit is the same. With arcade racing becoming more of a niche genre these days, it's fun to look back on a game that some may have missed. Hydro Thunder Hurricane takes you on much the same journey as the original. Take hulking boats down the waterways and race them against other hulking boats, all the while avoiding hazards and collecting boosts to win. Huge jumps and crazy environments, including even giant mythical gods and aliens, all make this a one-of-a-kind game for the Xbox 360. Progression is done by unlocking levels by gaining points in races or side missions. Racing against time through rings or avoiding exploding barrels can get tedious when all you want to do is race on to the next level. Online multiplayer has everything unlocked, but you may feel overwhelmed against other players if you haven't played much of the single player. Though as arcadey as Hurricane looks and plays, something just feels off. The boats don't hydroplane or carve into the water the way the original did, even with pro-level boats. This can lead to some sluggish response times in your turns. Boosting doesn't feel as effective as before either. The screen shakes and you hear the engines, but the sense of speed isn't there. Before, you could use the boost as a handbrake of sorts to make some sharp 90-degree turns on the water. Not so here. Your boat will be completely affected by the water. And the water is the real focus of the game. Waves get really high, and you'll be busy navigating your craft through the water instead of concentrating on the racing. Add to that the hazards and the obstacles, and it can get pretty hectic. Unlike the original Hydro Thunder, levels aren't as iconic here. They beam with creativity, and each level has its own theme. But for me, there isn't that wow moment. I can still remember the first time I raced on Alaska in the arcades. That first jump and the orca whale jumping over you is still vivid in my mind. Hurricane tries to capture that feeling, but it isn't the same. Maybe it doesn't push the limits of the genre, or maybe I'm too familiar with the original, and newcomers may find it to be just as iconic as the arcade. Either way, Hurricane doesn't really disappoint with its creativity.
This is crazy. Oh man, why are you saying anyway?
Graphics also seem to be focused on the water, as the boats and background textures can look muddy at times. This may not be a problem though, as you will be focused on where you're going and how to navigate a huge wave or jump in time. Water physics are really well done here, and marks a difference between Hurricane and the original Hydro Thunder. Whereas Hydro Thunder's water can seem serene, Hurricane's water is like racing through waves in an actual hurricane, and in some levels you are.
Nice drafting.
I recommend playing this on a good surround system for that authentic arcade experience. The engine sounds fill the room and the background sound effects from the hazards surround you. Your co-pilot can get annoying at times, but he'll tell you helpful information about boost so you can focus on racing instead of the HUD. Music isn't very memorable, but thankfully it isn't in your face or annoying. It blends right in with the action on screen. As of this review, you can still find a few people online to race against. I think that's because there isn't anything like Hydro Thunder Hurricane on the Xbox 360. I recommend playing through some of the single player to get used to the controls before challenging seasoned racers. While it isn't the original arcade's Hydro Thunder Hurricane isn't a bad alternative to the arcade boat racing genre. And in some cases, it may even surpass the original's creative zaniness. For fans of the original, you may feel a bit jaded, but veterans and newcomers alike will find an enjoyable arcade racer that will scratch that itch that the industry has recently forgotten.